so we all can see it. And as we go along, just a couple of housekeeping things. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box that you are typing in right now. I won't be able to get to them as you type them, but I will go through them once I complete all the information. I just want to make sure I get all the info to you, and then afterwards I'll do Q&A. So today we're going to be talking about elevating your financial well-being. For those that are familiar with my work, welcome back. For those that may be new, welcome. My name is Danetha Doe. I'm the creator of Money and Mimosas. Today we're going to be talking about financial well-being. So specifically, we'll go over three things. Hopefully you have a pen and paper handy as we go through. I'll also send the slide deck to you so that you have it. We're going to be going over why your financial well-being determines your ability to earn money. We'll go through the skills and mindset you need to thrive in any financial season. We're all experiencing a completely unprecedented time right now. So this information is especially critical now, but it's something that can be and should be applied throughout any season in your life. So we'll go through that. And then we'll end with 3 money habits to start today to elevate your financial well-being. Information and inspiration without action is worthless. So I will give you 3 steps that you can take today to start elevating your financial well-being. A little bit about me. As I said, I'm the creator of Money and Mimosas. We have readers in over 50 countries. I was named a personal finance expert by the Wall Street Journal and Fast Company. And in 1 year, in 2016, I hosted a group coaching program called Financial Foundations, which used these principles that I'm going to teach you today. And I tested it on that group. They paid to be a part of it. And on average, we had 36 people go through that program. And on average, each one they did add an average of $10,000 in earnings within that year period and paid off at least $1,000 in debt. So I share that because these principles do work. And you'll also see that now governmental agencies are getting on board with this information as well. Before we jump into what financial well-being is, I want to show you how it fits into your overall financial life. And the best way to get a sense for this is to compare it to fitness. Fitness and finances has a lot in common, and I think it really helps us see how this conversation with financial well-being fits into our financial life if we compare it to our physical fitness. So with fitness, there are 3 key areas when it comes to your fitness in terms of reaching a goal, maintaining your physical well-being, staying healthy, boosting your immune system. There are 3 key areas. One is exercise. We got to move our body. That can be running, that can be taking dance, that can be doing Pilates, whatever floats your boat. We've got to move our body. That's one aspect of fitness. And the other aspect is nutrition. So I worked with a personal trainer for about a year, and he was working with me on my weightlifting, and I wanted to get some gains, add some muscle. And at the time, I was a vegetarian, and he said, you can still continue to be a vegetarian. I just want you to know that the specific fitness goals that you have, you probably won't be able to reach them unless you add some sort of protein. And so working with him, I realized, okay, it's not just the exercise component, it's also my nutrition that I've got to pay attention to when it comes to fitness goals. So exercise, nutrition, and then the last part with fitness is willpower. So those days when we don't want to get up and do the workout, we have to foster an inner sense of motivation and willpower to do the exercise, to eat clean. And all 3 of those work together to help you reach your fitness goals. I had a trainer also say that willpower is the will to listen. So sometimes that means, yes, continuing to go hard in the gym, but it also means listening to your body. Sometimes that can look like taking a rest day. That can look like maybe doing a little bit of a softer workout. So it takes both. It takes the motivation to do those hard workouts, to eat clean. And then it also takes the will to listen to our bodies, to maybe slow down and maybe have one of those, something that may not be a clean item in our diet because we're craving it. So it takes all three of those in order to reach our fitness goals. The same applies to finances. There are three key areas when you're thinking about how to boost your financial health, how to reach any financial goal. The first part is well being, and that's what we're going to go over today. So you can think of well being like the exercise component of your fitness. This is you taking action, setting routines, maintaining a ritual or routine around managing your finances. We'll go in depth around what well being is, but think of it like the exercise portion of your fitness. This is the exercise portion for your finances. The second area is mindset. So, mindset is like nutrition. We have to feed our mind with positive, abundant thoughts. We are either on the, when it comes to the spectrum, there's the scarcity mindset and there's the abundant mindset. So, on a daily basis, we have to be mindful about what we're feeding our thoughts when it comes to money in order to edge more towards that abundant mindset and truly believe in possibility for ourselves and for our community. And then the third aspect is your aura. This is your energy around money. In Eastern traditions, karma is usually just what's used to describe aura. In African divination, it's your overall being. It's a great example is when you walk into a room and even before the person talks to you, if you see a person in the room, you can feel their energy, right? Either you're attracted to them or, something about them may be a little off-putting even before they say anything. The same thing happens with money. We either attract money or we repel it, and that's your aura. So those are the three areas of finances. And so as we go through this, keep this in mind when you're thinking about well-being, because that's what we'll be focused on now. This is the exercise portion of your finances, the action that you'll be taking. And it's also the easiest to measure. Mindset and aura is a little bit trickier to actually put data to. With well-being, we've got some data that we can use to track our progress. All right, so what is financial well-being? Financial well-being, it's the 21st century approach to financial education. It is something that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has come up with as the holistic approach to that exercise portion of your finances. They released a report. It was a 112-page report in 2017 where they studied thousands of Americans and came up with a system for actually measuring financial well-being. And the definition of it is a state of being wherein a person can fully meet current and ongoing financial obligations, can feel secure in their financial future, and is able to make choices that allow them to enjoy life. That is the formal definition, and it differs completely from conventional financial education. How so? So, financial well being is a personalized approach versus a cookie cutter approach. Within that definition, it states how you feel about your financial future, how you're able to meet your current and ongoing financial obligations. Between all of us, we each have different feelings when it comes to money. Some of us want to own a large home, some of us want to live in a condo, and either of those choices doesn't, none of those are good or bad. It's just a matter of understanding what you want and creating a financial plan that works for you, as opposed to conventional financial wisdom that would say things like, well, buying a home is the best investment anyone can make. For some people, it is, but for others, owning their own home may not be their goal. That's something to share personally. That's something that me and my fiance have decided that we will never own our primary residence. We'll own properties, but where we live, we never want to own. And that's because we've personally realized that that's not a goal of ours. For some of our friends, owning a home was the best decision they could have made. So with financial well-being, it allows for that personalization of financial goal setting. Financial well being also includes emotions and data versus conventional financial education, which is solely data based. So, going back to that definition, it says how someone feels. Do they feel secure in their financial future? Your financial future and your feelings of security around it are completely dependent upon the vision you have for your life. Your vision for your life is going to differ from mine. It's going to differ from your friend. It's going to differ maybe from your mom, your cousins. And so financial well-being allows for that space of healing. Otherwise, when we go back to conventional education, it just looks at the numbers on the page. It just looks at the cash you have in your bank account. It just looks at how much money you're bringing in. And while that data is important, it does little to tell us how you really feel. I've worked with people who make a lot of money and still feel insecure. And then I've worked with people that made less money and feel very secure in their future. And so financial well-being allows for us to have a more holistic understanding around your financial situation that includes both emotions and data so that you can truly start to take action around that holistic approach and come up with a plan and execute on a plan that includes your whole being, not just the numbers in your bank account or the income that you have coming in. All right. If you have any, I went through that pretty quickly. If you have any questions, add it to the chat. I will answer them at the end. So going back to conventional wisdom, what does conventional wisdom look like? It calls for pinching pennies. It says, save for a rainy day. It also says save for the distant future. A lot of conventional financial education will say, put your money into a 401k account or a retirement plan. While that is important, financial well-being has shown that that far distant future does not allow for you to actually increase your feelings of security. In fact, the more you save for something that's far out in the future, the less you feel secure in the moment. It sounds counterintuitive, but this is data that both psychologists, behavioral economists, and social scientists have realized. And so conventional wisdom says pinch pennies, save for the distant future. It also downplays creativity and having multiple streams of income or coming up with new ideas because that's considered risky. Conventional wisdom says follow this cookie cutter path because it's for sure. You know what the outcome's going to be. However, as we all know, we're very different individuals. There are overarching themes that we can all apply, but each of us has a different vision for our life. And when we downplay that creativity, we're actually downplaying our well being and our ability to actually thrive in any financial season. To contrast conventional wisdom, financial well-being focuses on creating wealth. So while it's important to save and be mindful when you spend, it's not about pinching pennies. It's about practicing ways of creating wealth, creating cash flow. It's also about practicing healthy money habits. So we'll go through what those look like. But financial well-being says every day, every week, every month, have a routine, a ritual around your money, similar to exercise, right? Every day or every other day, whatever your fitness routine is, you move your body. You don't wait until 6 months from now, a year from now to look at your fitness goals and say, oh, maybe I should go work out. No, it's a regular thing. And so with financial well-being, it calls for the same routine and focus. It also promotes creativity, inspiration, and collaboration, and tapping into those innate gifts that you have, that only you have. You'll be able to create you'll be able to boost your financial well-being and be able to thrive in any financial season. Conventional approach also assumes that your spending habits are the problem. That goes back to the whole idea of pinching pennies. Conventional financial education says, oh, you've got to hoard your finances. You are the problem. Your spending is the problem. That's why you're not able to thrive in any financial season. However, the average person does not have a spending problem. They have an earning problem. I want to say that again. The average person does not have a spending problem, they have an earning problem. Certainly, there are times when you may spend mindlessly, or you may know somebody that does spend more than their means. However, for the most part, the average person does not have a spending problem, they have an earning problem. And I'll show you some data to support this. So, data from the Federal Reserve of St. Louis, they do all of the consumer spending reporting. So they're the ones that gathers information and comes up with reports so that we can get a sense of, generally speaking, what does the average American do with their money. Between 2002 and 2019, the cost of food increased 38%. So over a 17-year period, the cost of food increased 38%. I don't know about you, but there aren't a lot of salaries or companies that can say that their earnings increased 38% over that 17-year period. And that just goes to show that the cost of living is outpacing the actual earning of individuals. So in fact, on average, inflation rises 2% per year, while wages rise 0.3% per year. So inflation is the cost of living. So that on average rises 2% per year versus wages that rise 0.3% per year. So on average, a company's net sales and employee salaries or business earnings, if you're an entrepreneur, cannot keep up with rising costs unless they focus on creating wealth. On average, most people are already behind because the cost of living is outpacing the average rise in earnings. So the conventional approach, like I said, assumes that your spending habits are the problem. No, it's not the problem. Yes, we can all be more mindful when it comes to spending, but I want you to know that it's likely not your spending that's the problem. It's earning and a disregard for quality of life that is the issue. And so we're going to be focusing with financial well-being on addressing the earning and the disregard for quality of life problems. When it comes to the systemic problems, that's a whole other discussion. For today, we're going to be focusing on what we can do as individuals in our own economy. I believe we each have our own economy and the power to create it. And so we're going to be focusing on the earning, your ability to earn, and also your ability to elevate your quality of life, whatever that looks like for you. So what are the 4 elements of financial well-being? If you're someone that likes to take notes, these would be ones I would highlight. So to elevate your financial well-being, the elements that you would look at to do that are: 1, consistent weekly money management. So every week, looking at your finances, making decisions, carving out specific time for you to make financial decisions, just like you may carve out an hour a day for a workout or 30 minutes for a HIIT class. You carve out that time to completely focus on your body. This is the same concept when it applies to your money. You carve out a specific time to be intentional and focused on your finances. Second, setting and tracking financial goals. This is really key in order to see your progress towards any goal that you may set for yourself. You've got to actually set the goal and then track it along the way. You may make adjustments as you get some feedback from the actions that you're taking, but ultimately you've set a goal and then you track it. Just like fitness, where you set a fitness goal and then you come up with a way of tracking your progress. The next 2 elements are more feeling-based. Remember, financial well-being is both data and emotions. So the third element is having the freedom to make choices to enjoy life. Only you can answer that question for yourself. What does it mean to enjoy life? For me, it means being able to take a yoga class in the middle of the day. That was one of the main reasons I started a business, was to have the flexibility to take a fitness class whenever I wanted to. So that's what freedom feels like to me. Freedom to you may feel like something different. So you'll have to Be clear with yourself on what that is, and then align your finances to be able to support that. And then the last one is capacity to absorb a $2,000 unexpected expense. So if for whatever reason you had to come up with $2,000, we're in a situation where unfortunately a lot of people are going through layoffs and unemployment. So this last point is incredibly poignant in terms of creating an environment where you are able to be able to pay $2,000 if you had to on any unexpected expense. Those are the four elements of financial well-being. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau did come up with a scorecard to help people gauge where they fall on the financial well-being spectrum so that you can actually use that to track your progress. They came up with 100 points. You can get 100 points. It's on a 100-point scale, and the median American's financial well-being score is 54 out of 100. We would want that for you as an individual. I would say you'd want to aim for 70 or higher. 60 is fine too, but to give you a baseline, the median is 54 out of 100. So how do you raise and maintain your score? And I'll also send you a link so that you can test. If you want to actually test your score, you can get that information. But how do you raise it and how do you maintain it? This is where we're going to start getting into some action steps. So elevating your financial well-being, there are 5 components to it. One is financial socialization. So things that you're doing right now. You're in this webinar learning about different financial topics. I would encourage you to talk to friends about money, friends that maybe you feel know more than you, friends that you feel maybe are on the same level as you. It doesn't really matter. Just talking about financial topics, that's what financial socialization is. It's like going to a fitness class with friends. It's the same concept, having that camaraderie and that that willingness to talk about money with people in your life. That's financial socialization. There's also community support. So surrounding yourself with friends and family that can spot you if you need the support, and vice versa, that you can spot if they need the support as well. Back to financial socialization. If you're a parent and listening to this, this is something that you can practice with your kids as well. The earlier that you can involve them in financial conversations, the more they'll feel confident in their ability to deal with money. So you'll want to, gauge that and make it age appropriate, but the sooner you can socialize them in financial topics, the better it'll be. Third point, increasing your financial skills. This is learning a new term every day, financial term. This is taking classes like this or any other way of reading about money on a daily basis. One of the things that I like to do is read at least one article from The Economist or the Wall Street Journal. And then in reading it, I always learn a new vocabulary term. So increasing your financial skills is a way of elevating your financial well-being. Boosting your financial cushion. Your cushion meaning any liquid accounts. Liquid is easy access to cash. So your savings accounts, your high yield savings accounts, your money market accounts, any CDs that have a year, 2-year or less ladder on it, so you can access that money within 2 years. Some CDs call for you to hold your money with them for 5 years. So boosting your financial cushion would be those that have a lower year requirement. Anything that you're able to access the cash easily. Things like your retirement accounts wouldn't fall under this, although those are important. When it comes to boosting your financial cushion, we're talking about accounts where you can easily pull out that money if needed to. And then lastly, setting financial goals. This can be, if you're a business owner, setting a revenue goal. If you have a side hustle, setting a revenue goal, or if you have dreams of owning a home, that's setting a goal. Whatever it looks like to you, setting those goals and and coming up with a plan of reaching them, that helps to elevate your financial well-being. All right, what you're looking at right here is a graph. This will help you understand or see visually, if you're more of a visual person, how each of those elements helps to elevate your financial well-being. To help orient you, what you're looking at, I want us to look at the side with the numbers. So that's the right-hand side. At the top, it says US average financial well-being. The median, as you just learned, is 54. So that's the dotted line going down the middle. And then on the right of that dotted line, that's the increase of someone's financial well-being score if they practice some of these financial well-being tips. And then to the left is their financial well-being score if they don't practice these tips. So the first one that we'll look at is confidence and ability to achieve a financial goal. Implicit in that is setting a financial goal and then doing the steps necessary to reach it. As you reach small or big financial goals, it doesn't matter, your confidence increases. And when it comes to making money, a lot of it has to do with confidence. Has little to do with actually knowing the tactical steps. It has to do with our inner belief. And so when you boost your confidence, your score increases on average. The average American score will increase to 63, versus if they don't have a lot of confidence in themselves, their score tends to fall to a 50. The next thing I want us to look at is having a habit of saving. So this is a huge spread. If you are in a regular habit of saving, I say every month at least, putting away 1%, 10%, 20%, whatever makes sense, into a savings account. By doing that, you increase your score to 60 on average, and then if you don't, it decreases to 48. The last one I want us to look at is effective day-to-day money management behaviors. For me, day-to-day, it could be day-to-day or it could be week-to-week. I recommend having a weekly time to look at your money. If you're a little bit more ambitious, day-to-day is fine too. But the more you practice money management behaviors on a consistent basis, your score has the potential of going up to 61. That's the average of the average American score. When they practice those behaviors, it boosts their score to 61, versus if they don't have those routines and rituals in place, it drops down to 48. So those are the three I want us to look at, and there's plenty more that you can look into if you want to check that out later. So action. 3 habits you can start today to elevate your financial well-being. We learned a lot about what it is. Hopefully you have some inspiration, and now it's about taking some action steps. The first step is practice creating money. So every day, brainstorm 3 new moneymaker ideas. Every single day, just think about different ways that you can make money. It doesn't mean that you'll take action on all of those ideas, but just it's a muscle that you're training to be able to see opportunity and possibility and continue to have hope. And then over time, you'll probably take action on a number of those ideas, and you'll have a number of revenue streams coming in. So every day, practice creating money. If you're an employee, if you're on here and you're an employee, working for a large company, employee earning, you're a W-2 employee, that's what I mean by employee, your 3 areas to focus on when it comes to creating wealth is having your salary. So you've got that salary from your company, awesome. And then add to that a 1099 opportunity, so a side hustle or a small business, and then your investments. So those are your 3 areas, similar to the 3 areas of finances, the 3 areas of fitness. Those are the 3 things you want to do to really round out your financial well-being when it comes to creating money. To give you an example, at Money and Mimosas, we featured a woman named Amanda in 2019. From Indiana, in fact. So we've got some folks from Indiana here. She lives in Indiana. She's an HR executive. She works full time for a company in their HR department and earns a decent salary. She was fine with it. And she wanted to go back to school and get her master's. So she took on a side hustle teaching English to students in China and earned between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. Over time, that was enough for her to be able to pay for her master's program. She didn't have to take out any loans. And she loved doing it so much that she just continued to do this as a side hustle. And so she's got that additional stream of income coming in. And for her, it's great. She's able to save a little bit more. She's able to hang out with friends with these extra earnings. So she can do more fun trips. So that's an example of something you can do if you are working full time at a company. If you are an entrepreneur on the call, so small business owner, 3 areas that you want to develop within your business. Every business needs to have these 3 revenue stream components. You want to have a digital component. So you want to have an online based revenue stream. You also want to have an in real life revenue stream as well. Of course, right now, that's not a revenue stream that can be utilized because many of us are at stay at home or shelter in place mandates, and we should be at home. And then when the time comes, you'll be able to tap back into those revenue streams. But the reason why you have to have both is in the event that one dries up, the others will help pick up to make up for that other revenue stream. The third one is having corporate or civic partnerships. So corporate meaning larger companies as a revenue stream. There can either be sponsors or some sort of deal with them that they're paying your company to do something for them. And then the other is civic partnerships. So these are government contracts, local government, federal government contracts within your business. So if you are a small business owner, that's your full-time thing, or even if it's not your full-time thing, within your business, any business that you own, I highly recommend having 3 revenue streams within that, and they are comprised of those 3 areas. To give you some examples, we've got Yenny, who is a dancer in Oakland, California. I live in Oakland, California, and she's one of the dancers that I love taking dance classes with. And Yenny's got those 3 areas within her business. So she teaches dance at a local studio. She also does virtual private training. And then she's also got corporate and civic partners. So she actually brought me on as one of her dancers when she did Salesforce's conference. So Dreamforce is a conference that Salesforce does every year. And she was hired to choreograph this large production for them. And then she, with that, hired a bunch of local dancers to be a part of that. So that's a corporate partnership. And then she also has civic partners where she teaches dance at the local K through 12 schools here in Oakland. So she's got those 3 areas to really round out her business. And then we've got Alex. Alex is actually my esthetician, who I miss so much since I can't see her right now, but hopefully we'll be able to get in and I'll be able to get in and get some services done here soon. Alex is also based in the Bay Area, and she's got 3 components to her business as well. So she's got the actual beauty services where a person will go in, get waxing or facials. She's also got her online store where she mixes oils, beauty oils, and she sells them through her e-commerce site. And then she also does goddess healing sessions. So she's a healer as well, and she'll do these sessions either in person or virtually. So she doesn't have a corporate aspect to her business. I imagine she'll expand to that soon. But all 3 of those areas, but she's got 3 areas rather within her business. And I'm sharing these examples so that you can see different ideas, hopefully spark some inspiration for your own business. That's the intention behind me sharing these different ideas, that you can start to see, oh, I could do that in my business, or I didn't think about that approach. So hopefully this is helpful. We also have Grace. So Grace is a former client of mine. She's a photographer based in Wisconsin. And so she started her business as a photographer, absolutely loved it. And then she and her husband wanted to grow their family, and they wanted to be able to have a business where they didn't have to be there in person in order to service the clients. They wanted to build a business where they could take a step back and maybe hire a manager, a couple of full-time employees. And so they did that. They started Summerana, which is this full, robust resource for photographers. They've got filters, they've got tons of photography tools, anything that a photographer would need in order to be able to grow their business and to elevate the quality of their work. So Summer Anna now has, I think, 4 full-time employees, and she and her husband have taken. They're still hands-on, but they don't have to manage the day-to-day now that it's taken on a life of its own. And then she also does education. So she teaches photographers how to build their own business, and she works with corporations and different brand partners as well. Another example, Patricia. Patricia was one of my clients, I think in 2017. So she's a painter and a digital artist. So one of her revenue streams is commission. So an individual may want a beautiful painting in their home. They would reach out to Patricia to have that done. She also does digital prints. So she has an e-commerce store, an online component to her work. And then she also does brand partnerships. So Anthropology works with her to design pillowcases and other home decor items. So those are the three components to her business. So those are some examples of how to create money. Brainstorm every single day ways to create money. That's one of my favorite activities to do, and it's a great way to tap into our creativity. It's like for me, it's like painting. It's designing your life. The second habit to practice is learn a new money term every day. Every day on my YouTube channel, there is a money minute video that I do where I just talk about a new financial term. Money is a language. And so the more you can get comfortable with the language, the more confident you'll be with your own financial situation. I was talking to a friend who, she's a small business owner. She's got a team, I think of, I don't know, maybe 30 people, 40 people now. And in the situation that we're all in as business owners, we have to start to think about how this financial fallout will impact our business. And so to preempt some of it, she went ahead and took a pay cut. She was paying herself 100 grand per year, and she dropped that down to 60,000. So she took a 40% pay cut. And part of the reason why she was comfortable with doing that, though, is because she knows about all these different debt tools that she can utilize if she were ever to get in a situation where she's in a cash crunch, where she needs to get something paid, and now that she took a 40% pay cut, she may not be in the place to do it. She knows about personal loans. She knows how to leverage her credit cards in a way where she's not hit with ridiculous interest rates. That's because she's in the financial space, so she's had to learn all of these money terms. And so learning money terms is a way for you to know what are your options, regardless of the situation that you're in. And you can feel confident knowing that you'll make the best decision for yourself because you know what's available and what questions to ask because you have an idea of how things work. So learn a new money term every day. And then the third step is a weekly money date. Sit down every week. I do mine on Fridays. In fact, I'll do mine after we hop off our call here and go through your finances from the week before. We have a free weekly money date guide that you can download from Money and Mimosas, where it walks you step by step. It's a checklist that you can do every week just to stay on top of your finances. And while that may seem simple, it's like brushing your teeth, or it's like I guess washing our hands. Like it is simple, but the weekly maintenance of it will elevate your financial well-being and help you feel more confident about your situation and your ability to make decisions in your best interest. All right, so that is today's webinar. I went through that information really quickly because I wanted to leave plenty of time for questions. If you want more tips, visit moneyandmimosas.com, and you will all get this deck emailed to you after today. And for right now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can actually see these questions and go through them. All right, so bear with me as I open up the chat box. Okay. So Sandy says, thank you for this. Question number one, when or will home prices come down? If so, what are your projections? Two, do you think our government will halt rents, mortgages for private and business owners? And three, any information on how to increase credit rate? I imagine credit score is what you mean by that. Okay, so I'll take those in 3 steps. I will say before I answer any of these questions that while I am a financial expert and I have lots of information to share, the situation that we're in now is unprecedented. So I will not pretend that I have all the answers. And I think if anyone says that they have all the answers, I would run a million miles in the other direction. So I will share my perspective with the information that we know now, but the information, as we all know, changes day to day. So Sandy, to answer your question, when or will home prices come down? I believe well, it depends upon which area that you live in within the country. It's going to take a little bit longer, or it'll be a faster fallout, I would say, in the Midwest and in southern states. On the coast, I do think that we'll see a tempering, like a weathering, a cooling down, rather, is a better word for our home prices. It will take a little bit longer. And I don't know when that'll be. It really depends upon how this stimulus package plays out. I really can't say when that will be, but I do believe we'll see a cooling down of the market. It'll be more of a buyer's market than a seller's market, which it's been a seller's market for a long time. Two, do you think our government will halt rents, mortgages for private and business owners? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, I should say, if there can be a federal mandate around that. I know that the country of Italy has that power where their government said that mortgages, rents are halted for however long. I'm not sure if they put an end date on it. I don't know if our federal government has that type of power. I do know that there are several financial institutions, banks, that are working with their borrowers on this. So for instance, I bank with Ally Bank, and they already said we are postponing mortgage or home loan payments 120 days. So you've got 4 months. Just let us know if you need it. So I think we'll see that from a financial institution, and then also from a lender or I think landlords will work with their tenants. I've heard some landlords say that they'll go ahead and say, hey, you don't have to pay rent this month if they are in a financial position to be able to weather it. So that's what I've been seeing. And then any information on how to increase your credit score? Yes, I would say check out ways to increase your credit score. Of course, if you can open up a credit card, first of all, making payments on time, that first and foremost helps you to increase your credit score. If you can do a secured credit card, so that's for those that have a lower credit score. A secured credit card is one that you can open up that is attached to your personal bank account. So that's something that you can do to increase your credit score. Yes, hopefully that answers your question. And then Jewel asked, "Is will there be a replay on this?" There won't be a replay on this, but I will send the deck so that you have it. Um, Rai asks, "Can you explain why the IRL component is important? We have an online business that sends out a physical product to clients at home, but also includes phone calls, etc. Everything is technically virtual. Can you give an example of an in real life component outside of having a brick and mortar that is important?" Yes, right. Great question. So, an in real life component is important as a way of just hedging your company. Hedging meaning having various revenue streams. So in our situation right now, we aren't able to meet in person. So in real life components um, does not work when you're under shelter in place. No one could have planned for this, but that's why having an online business is proving to be very important right now. On the flip side, who knows if there could be an internet outage. I don't believe that to happen, but I'm just saying if for whatever reason the virtual side of your business were to take a hit, you will want to have an in real life component. And the in-person connection, there's nothing that can compare to the in-person connection. You know, we're chatting today via the webinar, but I can't see any of your faces and you can't really, I mean, you can see me, but we're not hanging out. There's nothing like being in person with your community. And so, from that perspective, that's why it's important. From a financial perspective, you want to just have multiple revenue streams. Um, Outside of having a brick and mortar, some ideas that you can think about are hosting events. You can, if you, I know a little bit about your work, Rai. So doing speaking engagements is something that I would recommend for you, just because that way you're getting in front of a community and connecting with people in person to help spread the message about the physical products that you do send to clients. So with your business, you know, you don't have to put a ton of effort into the in real life component, but having that as an option will help round out your business. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you want me to elaborate on that more. Okay, Mary asked, more of a blog post idea question. You've posted other digital 1099 ideas and posts. Do you have a favorite? If you have any more, send them our way. Yes, I have. So a post just went live yesterday. I'll send this in the email with the deck to you all. So I just posted an article. I think it was 25 ways you can make money from your couch, which a lot of us are on our couches today. It's not funny, but it kind of is. Yes, so I will send that to you. One of my favorites is online teaching. So tutoring is something, I believe in the power of education, and I believe we all have amazing wisdom to share with other people. And so that's probably my favorite one. That is my favorite one when it comes to 1099 ideas. Okay, Mary also asks, crowdsource real estate investing. My husband and I have an HYS. Can you tell me what an HYS is, Mary? And a joint savings cushion, and also have IRAs. I think I saw this. Oh, a high yield savings. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so you have a high yield savings and a joint savings cushion and an IRA and IRAs. I think I saw this was one idea in a blog post. We want to diversify and would love any tips. Yes, so there are different crowdsource real estate apps. For those that aren't familiar, so real estate investing, you can either purchase the property yourself, or if you don't have all the cash to do that, because properties can be really expensive, you can group your resources with other people and crowdsource it to buy a property. So you can do this with a group of friends, or there are now apps where you can group with people that you probably don't know, and then the back end of that app will purchase the property, and then you receive payments on a however consistent basis, depending upon the property that you purchase, through that app. One of the more popular ones is called Fundrise. Here, I'll type it in here so you all can see it. Fundrise. So that's an app you can check out. My thoughts on it, to be completely honest, I haven't used it, so I can't speak from personal experience. I do believe it'll take some time to see the effectiveness of an app like that. It's only been around for, it's been around for less than a decade. I want to say it's been around for 5 years. I love the concept. I can't speak to any numbers though around whether it's effective or not, but I do think that it makes a lot of sense. And if real estate is something that you're interested in, then I would look to that. Yeah, I would look at that as one of the options, Fundrise. Other ways to diversify, Mary, you asked. So I'm personally a passion investor. I love commodities, meaning I love gold. I actually love wearing gold, but I mean, I love investing in gold. I love investing in jewels. I love investing in sugar. So those are things that I love where I love putting my money in. So if that's something that is of interest to you, then I would look into that. Commodities, silver, something as well. But that goes back to me, what my interests are. So it all depends upon what your interests are. But those are some things that you can look into. Um, Rye asked, outside of your wonderful resources, do you have favorite sites or places to increase financial literacy? Absolutely. I'll type that down below. So I love going to the Financial Diet, The Economist, Ellevest. If you all are really into stocks, I would check out Ellevest. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind immediately. That's where I go. I mean, I also read the Wall Street Journal just to keep abreast of like business stuff, which is also financial stuff. Um, so that's where I like to get my information. If I think of more things, I know there are more things I read, but oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot this. Money for the Rest of Us is like my favorite podcast on all things money. And then I also like Afford Anything. Afford Anything. Oh, I could listen to this woman all day. She I think she's 34 now. She became financially independent at 29, and she did it using index funds. She and I don't agree on everything. I'm more of like a create wealth through business type of person. She's more of a cut down on your expenses and then invest in index funds kind of person. So we have different philosophies when it comes to that, but I love her information. And that's what's beautiful about the financial space. Like, come up with your own philosophy and then find people to get information from that support that philosophy. But they're all possible. All philosophies are possible. So I would check out those two podcasts for some more resources. All right, Nora, thank you so much for doing this. So valuable. Thanks again. You're very welcome. Okay, so question number one, what are your thoughts on buying public stocks right now? I would say no one has a crystal ball, this disclaimer. I personally would not. I don't think we've seen the bottom yet. Of course, we did see, in my opinion, an artificial rally of the stock market earlier this week when there was some decisions made out of DC, but that was artificial, as I said. I do believe that it'll continue to bottom out. We haven't reached that yet. So I would say one of the philosophies that I practice, and that is practiced by many investors who have this philosophy, is to hold during times of panic. So hold during times of panic. So, yes, you will make a decision around stocks at some point, but right now we are in a complete frenzy in all different areas of life, but especially in the stock market right now. And making any decision, unless you play the stock market, there are people that actually play it, like gambling. They do what's called hedges, puts rather, options. They are actively trading right now. I don't agree with that philosophy during this time of panic, but there are people that do that. I would say that I would hold, if you're looking at buying public stocks, until I can't give you a date, but until we really start to see what this stimulus package is going to do and we get a real sense of how the economy is going to be impacted. I mean, we're still in the midst of this, and we still, the cases of coronavirus are still accelerating. So we're not at all in a place where we can assess what's going to happen. So those are my thoughts, my 2 cents. Two, what are your thoughts on buying bear bull certificates in this market right now? Same answer. I would hold. I personally wouldn't buy, but that's just my 2 cents. And then what is your mindset strategy for selling, acquiring new customers in this situation? Yes, this is a great question. Nora, can you tell me what kind of business you have? I would say, generally speaking, though, without knowing what kind of business you have, I would say now is the time to serve. And yeah, bring on new customers, bring on new clients, maintain that abundant mindset when it comes to your business. You know, don't discount your services. Um, right now, we just signed on a new client that wants to do tax content for Money and Mimosas. So that's totally fine. They're in a position to be able to do that. And so, yeah, I would say maintain that abundant mindset, continue to acquire new customers. On the on the other side, it's it's also important for us that are in a financial place where we can do so, to remember that keeping the economy flowing and glowing is really important. We've got to remember that an economy only works if there are buyers and sellers. So there has to be people buying things in order. One of the reasons why 2008 was so devastating was because people, in addition to unemployment, but the people that were in a position to actually buy things stopped. And an economy is meant to flow. It's called currency because it's like the current, it's like water. It's supposed to flow and nourish all of us. That's why cash flow is so important. And so let's continue to practice that abundant mindset of yes, we want to save, and yes, we want to be mindful. At the same time, we've got to support the local business community. We've got to be a part of the economy by spending. So, Nora, to answer your question about clients, yeah, allow them to buy from you, because that's a part of keeping the economy flowing. And you said that you work within tech coding apps as a contractor building artificial intelligence apps. Perfect. Yes, you're in a great place. A lot of businesses, if they haven't already, they're thinking about how they can expand to including an app. So yes, you are providing a necessary service, and we all are. And yeah, continue to grow your business. Sending you lots of good vibes for that. Chloe. Hey, Chloe. Thanks for joining. Um, for those that look at our graphics on Instagram, or if you receive the newsletter, Chloe is the one that makes all of those beautiful designs. She is fabulous. Chloe asks, for building your credit score, are there any specific credit cards you could recommend? Good question. So it has less to do with the type of credit cards. It's more about your habits around your credit cards. So your credit score, there's a number of criteria that determine your credit score. So one of them is how long have you had the credit card. So the longer you've had it, that helps to boost your credit score. your payments on time. So making payments on time helps to boost your credit score. There's a lot of different criteria. So it's more about when you do have a credit card, um, using it, because if you don't use it, like if you maintain a $0 balance, it actually doesn't do anything for your credit score. So actually using it and then paying it off, less so than the types of credit cards you use. With that said, I'm a big fan of getting rewards. So pick a credit card where you can get rewards. For us, me, my fiance, and I, we love to eat out. So we'll use a credit card where we get rewards for eating out at restaurants, when we're able to do that again. If you like flying, there are some rewards or some cards that give you flight rewards. So look at the rewards, because at the end of the year, you can get a cash back on that, or some points rather, to use towards future purchases. So those are the only things. So that's how I would look at the different credit cards. And then Mary says, "Oh, great, Mary! I love that you're a former teacher. Cool. Yeah. So tutoring. I would definitely check that out. If you all are interested in tutoring online, I would check out OutSchool, and then I'll also send the article link where we featured Amanda, who teaches English to students in China, because she mentioned a program that she uses that she's had a great experience with. So if any of you are interested in online tutoring, you can check out that article and I'll send it to you. Okay. Sandy, can you remind me, you said, do you have the URL? Can you just remind me which website you're referring to, and I'll be sure to send that out. Right. Okay, you found it. Fundrise. Perfect. OutSchool. Yes. If you Google OutSchool, I think it'll pull up. But I'll include that along with the link with Amanda in the email. And then Rai says, thoughts on selling stocks right now. Yes. So selling stocks right now. Yeah. So this goes back to, everyone's going to have a different approach to this. And I would say it goes back to two things. One, your time horizon. So if you are nearing retirement age, one, your stocks need to, your portfolio. So your portfolio is your basket of investments, your grouping of investments. One of them is stocks. Other investments can be bonds, equities, real estate. So as you near retirement age, your portfolio needs to transition from being more risky to less risky. So stocks are always more risky, and then bonds are on the less risky side. So your time horizon, if you are nearing retirement age, regardless of what's happening in the external economy, transition your more risky investments to less risky investments. So maybe your basket could be 70% less risky, 30% more risky if you're nearing retirement age. If you haven't already done that, and you're nearing retirement age, you may want to, I'm not an advisor on your personal situation, but you may want to consider moving that. If you're not nearing retirement age, then that's, you're in a different situation. So that's one thing you've got to consider, is your time horizon. The second thing you want to consider was your intention behind investing. So if your intention behind investing was to hold on for 30 years, then I would say now is the time to sell, because you were planning on holding out for 30 years anyway, and the market is going to bounce back over that time span, that time horizon. If your intention was to put it in stocks in order to buy a house in 3 or 4 years, that's a little bit different. And that's something you'll have to weigh, if it makes sense for you to move your cash now, especially if you're looking to buy a home in the next year, in a shorter time horizon. So you have to go back to what your initial intention is. If your initial intention, though, was to hold out for the long term, you know, this is the time when you're going to be really tested. But I would stick to that initial intention. But if you had another intention, then yes, you may want to sell off some stocks. Janine says, speaking of credit cards, does it negatively affect your credit score to have too many if you're paying on them? Ooh, this is a good question. So the other factor in your credit score, in addition to the ones that I mentioned earlier, the other one is your debt to credit ratio. So let's say you've got 3 credit cards and the limit on each is $3,000 each for easy numbers. You've got $9,000 in credit access. The less of that you're using, the higher your credit score will be. So out of $9,000, if you're using 33% or less, so $3,000 or less, then that will help boost your credit score. If you have maxed out all of those credit cards, so you're using $9,000 of that $9,000, even if you're making monthly payments, that will reduce your credit score. And so having a lot of credit cards won't hurt your score, but the amount of money that you're using on them, you'll want to keep it at below 50%, ideally below 33% or less. Otherwise, you will negatively impact your score. Rai says, I know you said you were sending the resources you mentioned, but I don't see anything in the chat box. Yeah, so those resources I'll send will be in the email, because I don't think I can attach the deck to this. So yes, you'll get an email with those articles I mentioned, and then the deck that was used today. Cool, those were great questions. Any other questions from anyone? Oh, Janalee, I'm sorry, I just now saw this. How do you spell Ellevest? So Ellevest is the name of the company that I mentioned. And that company provides really great content about the stock market, and they also have their own products around, like, if you want to invest, like open up a Roth IRA through them, they can help you with that. And I think I missed another question. I feel like you had another question, but I'm not seeing it anymore. Okay. So Sandy asked, do you offer one-on-one sessions hourly rate by chance? Oh, that's a great question. At this time, I'm not offering one-on-one sessions, but starting April 1st, there will be a membership community where there'll be more opportunities to ask me questions directly. It'll be in a group setting, similar to this. So I will send that to you. That'll go out Sunday. Okay, so KP asked, oh, I see, you have a hand raised. Oh. So I'm gonna unmute you, KP, and you can ask your question. Okay. Hey, KP.
Hi. Sorry,
Hi.
I sent it on Q&A, but I'm not sure if it went through. So I was hitting all the other buttons.
I love it. I've never done the raise hand thing, so this is great.
Awesome. We're all learning new things. So I wanted to thank you for being giving us so much tactical advice that we can put into action. And because you define financial well-being so much of the emotional part being so important, can you tell us a little bit about how you were feeling emotionally, like what your patterns were before you became a financial expert and built your business compared to today? Were there things you were surprised to learn about yourself? Just so, as we all go on our respective journeys, we kind of have a little glimmer of what might happen for us. And thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And this is a great question. I'm just going to mute you, but if you have a follow-up question, raise your hand again, and we'll do that again. I love this question because, yes, KP, as you mentioned, while the tactical piece is, it's important to take action, the emotional side for me, I realized, is foundational and possibly paramount to the tactical information. And that in and of itself was a surprise to me. Learning that the emotional and psychological side of money was so important. So just to share a little bit of my background so you all know, I studied accounting in school, I studied economics, I've always loved money. I wrote a poem at the age of 6 about money. Like money has just been something that I've always seen as like magical and fantasy, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and so when I decided though to pursue a career financial, in the financial world, it started off strictly doing accounting work. I was only focused on the tactical side of it. Very linear thinking, 1 + 1 = 2. The cash is in the bank or it's not in the bank. Like if you want to make more money, you just do steps 1, 2, 3 and you'll make more money. And then in my own experience of starting a business as an entrepreneur, all of these feelings emerged. And I realized for myself, I had to understand my money mindset and what my money story was, and learn then how to rewrite my money story. There were some things that were working against me that I chose to rewrite. And then throughout my business owner career, and even today, the emotional side is something that I spend. If we want to look at the total time I spend thinking about money, 80% of it is on the emotional side, like in my own personal experience with money. And so to share some things that I've learned the importance of self forgiveness. So that was something at the very beginning. I realized that there were some decisions that I made around my finances that I wasn't proud about. And it didn't, but I was also harboring resentment against myself for making those decisions. And that did no good for me. I had to learn how to forgive myself and then realize the lessons that were in those experiences that I can use going forward. Also, the practice around abundant mindset. There is unfortunately the vast majority of people believe or hold a scarcity mindset, which is the fundamental belief that there's not enough to go around. That's what a scarcity mindset is. And that can be applied to food, it can be applied to money, and we're talking about money. And so I had to learn that how I chose to spend my money could be a reflection of that abundant mindset. I've always been someone that has saved a lot, but I realized putting so much emphasis on that was coming from a place of fear and coming from a place of hoarding and thinking that I wouldn't have enough moving forward. That doesn't mean that you spend willy-nilly. At the same time, practicing spending from a place of, oh, what I put out there is going to come back to me 10 times, 100 times. That was a really big lesson. So I would say going through this experience that we're all going through, the scarcity mindset, if there's anything that I'm especially fearful of, if I don't get scared often, but the thing that's causing me pause, that's a better word. The thing that's causing me pause with what will be this financial fallout is the tendency for people to hoard their money and to default to that scarcity mindset. And so I would invite all of us to remember that we are a part of the flow. And so whether that's, buying a $9.99 book from Amazon to support your favorite teacher, or if it's about continuing to do your beauty services, so supporting that local business owner. If it's about ordering takeout. Tonight is date night for me and my fiance. So instead of cooking, we usually cook on Fridays. We're ordering takeout to help support the local restaurant community, which is very much affected now and will be for many months, possibly longer than that. And so that's, if I had to distill it to one thing, that's what I would leave with all of you. I also want to ask a question if I'll do another one of these. Yes, so every Friday I'm going to do a free Friday finance webinar, and next week will be about money mindset. So I will send that information to you because learning what a scarcity mindset is, how it creeps into our lives, and then how to intentionally practice an abundant mindset. I think it's always important, and I think now it is especially critical. So thanks for that question, KP. That was great. Um, to follow up with that question, because now I'm reading it, I do want to give you actionable steps around money mindset. So I'll go through that next week in depth, but one of the things that I would practice is um, mantras. So mantras comes from the two words in Sanskrit called man and tra. It's man is tool and tra is thought. So it's a tool for your thoughts, a tool for your mind. So mantras help train your mind to see things a certain way. And so there are money mantras that I've said to myself for years, and I share these on moneyandmimosas.com and then on my Instagram, where I share things to say to yourself about money. Like today I said to myself, I create money easily and effortlessly. So saying things like that to yourself helps retrain your mind from thinking from a scarcity place to a place of hope and possibility, which is abundance. Hopefully that helps all of you. And then Janalee asked, do you discuss mergers and acquisitions? Ooh, that is a good question. That is something I want to learn more about. I am not an expert on that, so I won't cover it. But Janalee, if you are interested in that, I'm typing in a woman's name, Julie Gordon White. She built an M&A practice and now teaches people about mergers and acquisitions. So yes, definitely check out her work. I believe she definitely has a book on it. And then if you Google her, you'll find her website. You can find the book, and you can also, through that website, reach out to her about that information. Yay. Are there any other questions? These have been such good questions. Thank you all. All right. Well, thank you all for your presence today, this morning or afternoon, depending upon where you are. And let's see. Hopefully you can still see my face. But thank you all for attending today and for your presence. It really means a lot, and I really hope this was helpful. Sending you lots of love and peaceful vibes and prosperity. So have a wonderful rest of your Friday. I'll send out that email, and we'll talk soon. Bye.